Hey, what's going on out there, everybody? Today we got a very special, it's not even really an episode really, this is kind of like a little addition to the show here. As you can see, I am joined by a guest. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm a Horror Hag.
That is the Horror Hag, not the Horror Rag. See, I knew I was going to say that, and I flubbed it anyways. Thank you for coming, I do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Now, the reason I kind of threw this show together was, I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago, it seemed like everybody was doing this thing where they was ranking their favorite Nightmare on Elm Streets. They just did this thing where they was literally ranking, and they ranked them all. They, included the crossover and the remake and everything like that. So I was like, I need to jump on this, but I wanted to kind of make it special. So I, literally, left the crypt, went over to my neighbor, knocked on her door. You want to do the show? And she said yes. So here we are. So we are here to basically talk about it. I literally am going to bust out all the props here. We are going to take a little trip down Elm Street. So, boom. There it is. I'm going to sleep this out right here. That's what I'm going to do. Get my money's worth out of this. Alright, so I guess without any further ado, let's do this thing. So, you know what? You're the guest. Miss Hag. So, go ahead and we'll start off very bottom. Your number 9. And here's we got the DVDs laid out right here. Now, I do not own the remake because, let's face it, it's a big pile. If I had a pile of shit and put it in a bag, I would literally use that. But since I don't have it, I have to get a DVD that's equally as shitty. So we're going to use Just Married as the, remake right there. You may be asking, why do I own a copy of the Just Married DVD? And I'm just going to say, mind your own fucking business, and we'll just move past it from there. All right?
It's for the date night.
The date night, yes. When the Phantom gets his ladies down here in the crypt, I lure them in with this, but then, chloroform, and then when they wake up, fuck it, we're doing the real good stuff. So yes, Horror Hag, go ahead, start us off. Pick up your number 9 and tell us the reasons and yada yada yada. Let's do this.
Number 9, quickly, piece of shit. Number 8.
Whoa, we'll go back and forth. We'll go back and forth.
Okay.
We'll stretch it like this. But I will agree that my number 9, the remake. Now here's, if we can delve into it for a split second here, the reason why I think this is a piece of shit. You know what? In all honesty, everything about this movie I just thought was horrible. And it had some good, there were some good ideas about it, but it just weren't developed good enough, I didn't think. I like the idea that once you're up for so long, you can start having these little mini naps. Because that really happens during a lot. I thought that was kind of interesting. But it just, I don't know. All it was when I fell asleep, CGI Freddy would come out and jump on him or something like that. And I don't know. That's another thing, too. The CGI was just over the top on this one. Now, granted, like the next one, there's one of my favorites has a lot of CGI in it, too. Some of it's kind of bad. But the thing is, this is the remake. In the original, they had fire. They didn't computer that in. They didn't, have kids with, like, little drawings of fire coming from the screen. No, it was literally they had fire. It was never near the actor. It was probably closer to the camera, actor in the background, but it looks like he's on fire. Here we have cartoon fire. Just fucking CGI fire, and he's, I'm freaking out. One of the best scenes in part 1, him coming out of the wall.
Yes.
Boom. That was a real thing there. Now, it wasn't a real wall, obviously. It's probably just a big sheet of, plastic or whatever, or rubber. But he was still coming through it. It was physical. If I was on the set, I can just be like, hey, there you are right there. And this, what we get? Cartoon Freddy coming out to slash the shit. It was ridiculous. So,
there was one death in that I actually liked, because it made me laugh.
Brittany Murphy?
And it wasn't
come on, that wasn't cool. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
For some reason, that just happened. I was like, oh my god, that's the funniest thing I've ever seen. This kid, he'd been awake forever. He was on the computer. And he's like, oh, Freddy's going to get me. All of a sudden, his face smashes into the screen, and that's it.
And once again, it's one of those things where I like that concept. I like the concept that other people are being affected by Freddy. Because that's something you don't really get in the other ones at all. It's kind of like the rumblings around school, but for you to actually go online and be like, I don't know, it had kind of a ring feel to it where like maybe the virus is elsewhere. I kind of dug that, but once again, it just felt like the whole thing was just, I don't know. I don't like, Rorschach being my Freddy either. And he's not a bad actor. I don't know. I just didn't like him here. So, all right, go ahead. We'll continue on the journey here at your number 8.
And the reason I was going so quick is because I wasn't going to acknowledge that. I was going to go straight to a real one. This is my least favorite. It's not bad, but it's not super awesome. And the only reason I didn't like it is because, first of all, wasn't Springfield supposed to be? I know they didn't really say it, but it's in a different part of the country than Crystal Lake. And it's like, how can that just be down the road in this movie all of a sudden? What the heck?
Got a point.
Other than that, some of the death scenes were cool. I didn't like the Beyonce child, or what is her?
Kelly Rowland.
Thank you. Destiny's Child. Remember that. Didn't like her. They could have picked somebody else. I did like the guy getting smashed in the bed, though.
That was a good scene. That really was. That's one of those classic ones. That became an instant classic right there. Just to... In fact, on the DVD, His Name Was Jason DVD, they have it to where I guess they have like a tour of, I don't know if it's Universal Studios or not, but there's like a haunted house basically that they use real props and things like that, and actually had the bed, and they got someone in that because I mean it became like like I said, it's an instant great death scene. All right, my number 8. I'm about to go way back up the list right here. We're going part 2, Freddy's Revenge. Now here's my problem with this. All right, besides the fact that it's just a fucking boring movie, it kind of broke the rule for horror sequels. And don't get me wrong, like I do like a sequel to expand on the idea. I do like that. He had Alien, and then Aliens took the original idea and went with took the next step with it. This just redid it and it made it boring. Let's just redo the whole thing. Let's rediscover who Freddy was. Like, it didn't really... And then... Oh, my God. Okay, once again, and I'm not homophobic. I'm not at all. Rocky Horror Picture Show is one of my favorite movies of all time. I'll dress up like Frankenfurter right now and, sing a Sweet Transvestite. I will. My problem with... But it's really gay. Like, even before, I was young enough to realize that there were gay, overtones, I was even saying back then, this is just a gay fucking movie. It was. I didn't like the boy in it. I just felt like, I don't know. It's hard for me. With the exception of Tommy Jarvis from the Friday 13 series, when you have like a slasher type movie and the male's the lead, you're kind of like, you're running around screaming. I mean, I don't know. You need a girl for that kind of thing, I think, for the most part. Unless you're going to fight back. This guy's just kind of a pussy. He wasn't fighting back anything. There is one scene in this. Now, I will admit, when I was a kid, when I was a little Phantom, it did freak me out. Like, it didn't really freak me out. It was disturbing at the time. Because the scene was when Freddy pops out and he's in, he's at the pool party or whatever, and he's just slashing people left and right. They're all making a getaway up this, fence. One kid gets trampled. Now, there was something about the kid being trampled to death by his fellow friends. It just, I don't know, it kind of like, I was like, oh my God. Like, everything in the movie, even like the dude showering with his gym teacher, which should be disturbing. I don't know, something about that just kind of stuck with me. Even when I watched it, I think last time I watched this, my God, it's been a while. But when I watched it, I was just like... That's still kind of, it's still, I don't know, it's something about movies where, like, you're not killed by the killer, you're killed by, like, a mistake. The remake of Dawn of the Dead. They're making the getaway, and when he turns the corner too sharp, dude has a chainsaw and he hits the girl with it, and he kills her. I was like, oh my God, like, you made it that far, and you get killed by the dumb fuck with the chainsaw, So I think it's kind of, that's my reason there. So yeah, that was my number 8. All right.
It did kind of make it a tad scary, though, because the fact they were so afraid of Freddy that they're going to kill one of their own.
That is true. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from that scene. That scene it's a good scene. It really is. So yeah, I'm not taking nothing away from that. So. And
that one kind of made it almost like a haunted house type deal. I mean, I know Freddy's done, a haunted house, but those people didn't know.
Yeah.
I don't think they were from the town. They just moved in the house, and all of a sudden, Nancy's problems were their problems because they got the house.
Birds were like catching on fire, and the dad's mad all the time.
Blamed it on the guy. Must have telekinesis.
Must be it. This must be it. All right, number 7.
My number 7
is in fact number 7.
Yes.
Ouch. Okay, so what's your reason behind this right here?
I just felt it was very, I don't know, like they tried too hard to make some. It's an original idea at the time. I just didn't like it. Plus, the nurse in it. She was the teacher in part 1, and Nancy.
See, I didn't even know that. She literally tells me this the other day, and I was just like, oh, I did not know that. It's like, I don't know why.
I mean, they could have played it off. I mean, Heather could have been like, hey, we did that movie that one time. Awesome, you're a nurse now. No, totally just did not acknowledge it. And the little boy's annoying. I didn't like him in Home Alone. Or not, he wasn't Home Alone. He was in, what was that show with Danny Tanner? And Full House.
Full House.
That kid was in that show.
Was he really?
Yes.
My God,
I've always hated that kid. He's just annoying.
This is why I invite the Horror Hag over, because she knows,
trivial facts.
She knows shit, so yes. All right, well, my number 7 is actually part 5, The Dream Child. And it, once again, now, with the exception of the remake and part 2, like, I do not like those movies. I just don't like them. From here on out, I do like these movies, but it is different degrees. And this is one of those that, if you would have asked me, if I was 10 or 11, I was like, yeah, it's a great movie. This is great. But when you watch it now, it's just a generic they're grinding out at this point, almost this thing. And don't get me wrong, like the idea of having the kid was cool. I mean, you have a baby, and the baby's dreaming, and now Freddy's fucking with you. And that was a good idea. But at the end of the day, it's still just the same thing. And it just seems like I always love when you got two horror movies, and they take place like you got one that was filmed like here, one that was filmed like 3 years later, but they take place like within the same week or whatever. And I love how like that first group of friends will get slaughtered and there'll be one survivor, and then you see with the other friends, and it's almost like the other friends didn't even die, and they're not even talking about it. And that's what this was too, because the survivors were from part 4. And it's like, you just lost a shitload of classmates there, and here you are, like now you're just like,
yeah. Who cares?
Some high points was, like I said, I liked the child dream thing. I liked the end battle. It looks like that MC Escher stairs.
Yeah.
I won't call it crazy stairs because that's what they did on Family Guy, but I know it's not called that. Relativity or something like that. Anyways, I like that, and I like the you had Mark. He was the comic book geek. And he becomes a comic book hero, and then Freddy just slashes his ass in the paper, just slashes him up, and of course in real life he's all diced up and everything, but yeah, some high points in that one, but yeah, overall it is pretty low on my list. So there's that. Okay, so number 6.
My 6th one was, I think it was the same one actually.
Alright.
The only reason I didn't like it is I don't like the whole fact that the baby was dreaming. Because I don't remember a dream I had last week, and I doubt this little infant's gonna like remember this. And I know that's not part of it, but it's like all these people are getting killed because babies, in constant dream states.
So that's why you're for abortion.
That's why I'm for abortion.
There it is, abortion. Say yes to abortion because you won't be killed by your child's dreams.
And another thing I didn't like about it is about halfway through, you can tell the writer really just didn't know what to do, so we're on repeat. I think this just happened, and they got in the truck,
Yeah, I didn't remember that, yeah.
Other than that, I like the fact that they brought Freddy's mom.
Yeah.
As the guy, or the only person that could bring him down.
Did like that, yeah.
And they showed the fact that he was the son of 100 maniacs.
It's true.
That, why he's all messed up there. But other than that, yeah, I didn't like the whole baby dream thing.
There was one thing I didn't like either. It was like whenever like the kid tells the mom like what his name is, and then when she finds out that is, because the whole time she's dreaming about this boy, not baby, she's dreaming about a boy. I forget his name now, but Dylan maybe, or was that the kid from 7? Either way, she's like, he's just like, my name, I'm gonna call him Adam, because fuck it. He's like, my name's Adam, and then later on when she finds out that's her kid, they're like, well, you don't name the baby. She's like, I want to name Adam. Really? I'm like, fuck the kid, he ain't gonna name his own name, fuck him. I had this name picked out for him from before. No, you can't. It's like when you got like movies where time travel's the thing, and like your kid from the future shows up, and he's just like, I'm Jimbo. I just saved your life. I'm your kid. He leaves. I'm like, fuck him. His name's Alice now. That's why I'm a dick like that. So, all right. Moving right along. Then I guess my part. Okay, yeah. So we're at part 6 now. My number, or not part 6. My number 6 on the list will be part 4 actually. And once again, in fact, you ask Junior High Phantom, what's his favorite one? It was this one. And the only reason, here's the only reason it was my favorite at the time, was her brother was a karate guy. That was it. Literally, I'm just like, oh my god, he's having a karate showdown with Freddy. Now, when I was a kid, I did not get the concept of a generic slasher. I didn't get the concept of the formula. I went into every single movie, and this is Friday 13th, Halloween, I don't know anything, thinking like, anybody can make it through this thing. You have like 10 kids, all 10 of them could survive maybe. I didn't know. I didn't know that you're like, oh, the jock, he's going to get killed because he's an asshole, or the girl's a slut. I did not know that. I honestly just like, I like that guy. He's the funny one. He'll make it. No. And so I see the karate brother, and I'm thinking to myself, like, he's going to bring Freddy down. Even though we're like 45 minutes into the fucking movie, in my mind it's like, here we go. And but yeah, but once again, I also didn't like the fact that like it kind of broke some rules here where like, Freddy's whole deal at this point has been revenge against those who wronged him. And as soon as he gets rid of the last 3 Elm Street kids, he's just like, oh, we're starting fresh now. And he goes out there and starts a whole new battle. I'm like, really? And don't get me wrong, I guess that would kind of make sense. But I'm like, if this guy made a deal with Satan or whatever. I mean, I know it's like the dream word or the dream demons at the part 6 or whatever. But anyways, you make any kind of deal like that, they're not going to be like, you know what, buddy, extended holiday, stay out there. You're good.
Kids only, no grandkids.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, come on. I mean, so I don't know. But yeah, I mean, that's all I can really say about this one. So yeah, boom. That was my number 6. Now, what's your number 6?
My number 6 was...
Oh, wait. Sorry, you're at 5 now. My bad.
I think so.
I'm confused here. This is my show, and I'm still confused. So wait, yeah, you're.
I think I'm at Freddy's Dead.
Yes, you're alright, Freddy's Dead.
Freddy's Dead. I shouldn't have been so down on my list. It wasn't that bad. I don't like how it started.
I don't want to interrupt you.
Yes,
You left one off your list.
Which one?
I'm guessing 4.
Yes.
You left 4 off your list.
That's why I was confused at looking at my own list. The part that it shows that he had a kid, but he killed kids, but he didn't kill her. I mean, I know he got bullied, and that's probably why he killed kids, but yeah, whatever. It's a little bit weird. I did like the fact that Alice Cooper played his dad.
Yeah, yeah.
And I did like the kind of creepy scene where he's beating himself up, and his dad's like hitting him, and he's like, I don't care. And I was like, that's kind of funny. Not really scary.
Yeah. Well, at this point, though, this series was no longer a horror series anymore. It was more of a comedic kind of feel to it anyway, so...
But yeah, I just didn't like the one kid, you know, the last teenager of Springfield.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I get the idea, you know, you gotta keep him alive, because then nobody else is gonna make it, but they just could have totally done away with that and just had Freddy's daughter. That would have been great for me.
Alright. Okay, I was waiting for it. I thought you had more.
That's all I got.
I remember when I had the Man with No Name on here. When I rewatched the video, I know I was cutting him off a lot. Cause I just like to talk. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I'm a rude fucking host. Like, I'll just literally like, oh yeah, that's great, cause I got I got the same, and I'm horrible about that. So now I'm just like, when I get the next guest, I'm gonna make sure they get every word they want to say out first before I say anything. So that's I'm a dick. I'm not gonna lie right there. Okay, so next, my number 5 is part 3, the Dream Warriors. Boom, and this is real solid, good movie. I like the idea that they're all kind of in their own little the institution or whatever. And it was the stuff that, like, to me, what kind of got me was the stuff that they kind of explained, like the scene where they talk about how one kid cut their eyelids off just so they wouldn't fall asleep. I'm like, dude, that's messed up. And really, you didn't have to see it because it was just enough right there. The story about that. This is the first time we actually get introduced to the Hypnosil, which will later come back in Freddy vs. Jason. So, I mean, that's one of those things, too, like, I'm a geek, so when I'm sitting there in the theater watching Freddy vs. Jason, they're like, Hypnosil, I'm like, oh, call back to part 3. This was co-written, the original script was co-written by Wes Craven, so it was kind of cool, and you can kind of see that, and I'm not just, like, swinging on Wes Craven's nuts, but, I mean, you can kind of see that this is why this is kind of how it was. I mean, there's just no denying that, even though you did throw 7 all the way down at the bottom. But, yeah, no, damn good movie. Solid and everything like that, and yeah, I can't really say. There is one thing that I won't hold against it, because once again, I'm a stickler for special effects, but I let some shit slide that was like, I think I always say like pre-9/11. Anything pre-9/11, I'll let shit slide. The battle they have, like, it's John Saxon, the great John Saxon, and he's fighting like the skeleton in the junkyard. It's still, like, I thought it was cheesy then, and I still almost like, wow, this is, like, really, they could have done anything. They could have done, like, the Bruce Campbell style, like, Army of Darkness skeletons. I would have liked that a little better. Like, a skeleton's like, oh, I'm coming to get you, and he's just, like, wrestling the skeleton and everything. I would prefer that than this, like, bad claymation or stop motion or whatever the hell it was. It looked bad, so but once again, I'm not gonna, I did like that they all had, like, their own little special powers in the dreams. I dug that. Like, the junkie girl, like, she don't have power, she's like, she knew how to kick ass.
She looked cool.
Yeah, she looked punk. That was her thing. The cripple could walk, and he was a wizard. The black dude was just strong. Wasn't he strong in normal life, though?
I think he had tart strength. So.
Yeah, he did have some. Yeah, he was insane. And then the kid who couldn't talk could talk. That was his place, but he could, like, So yeah, good stuff right there. So.
And John used to be in kung fu movies, so I mean they could have totally made that more better. I mean, he knows karate, like he wasn't just in the movies.
Like, he actually knew his shit.
Yeah.
And I think they were just like, you know what, he can take Freddy out too easily. We got a karate guy coming up in part 4. We'll just hold that back for now.
His nerves are dead, so no, like, death punch could have done it. I
guess. I will say, okay, talk about disturbing parts from part 2. There was something disturbing about this. Now, I'm watching this like when I'm a junior high. All right, so I'm masturbating a lot. There's a scene where the mute boy, there's like a hot nurse that's like getting the mute boy, she's like, come here, and she takes her clothes off, and nice topless scene, but then like she opens her mouth and like these like tongues, I guess, like shoot him to the bed, and just the fact that she's like kind of morphing into Freddy, I don't know, this always kind of creeped me out, because I'm just like, I'd be afraid now, like even when you kill Freddy, in your subconscious mind, you're going to be thinking like every girl you're going to be having a wet dream with could turn into Freddy at any second. It just, it also kind of like, I'm like, oh, okay, I'm done. So, yeah. That's it on that. Where are you going to throw part 4 at? Are you?
It's my next one.
Oh, your next one? Okay.
Part 4, I'm sure I have to stand up here. Part 4, I just did not like it. Like you said, the friends, and they all had, the one guy had the karate power. The one death I did like in the movie, though, was the asthma girl.
Oh, yeah.
When, she, like, I mean, you know, in real life, she didn't really look all flat, but
yeah.
in the dream, I was like, oh, that is so cool. I just really liked that. But I did like the karate guy. I liked how he tried to be there for the sister because their dad's an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And then he gets killed. I'm like, well, why did he get killed? I mean, I know he's the jock, but still, he's a cool guy. The girl should have got killed. She was annoying.
The girl was annoying. I will grant you that.
I didn't like how at the end she got like all their power, you know, powers.
Yeah.
She knew karate. She had the inhaler. She didn't need the inhaler, but she had it.
Was this the one that had the girl like she was afraid? Like, her mom was always like, "Don't eat this because you get fat."
Yes.
And they had that was actually a cool dream. I like that.
That was
where
cool.
There's feeding and. Did she just like choke to death?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, in the dream she was eating. They were at an actual dinner party. She's at the table, wakes up, choking, dead.
Boom, that's it. It's all text right there. Okay, so then my number 4 will be Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. Now this is, you're going to think like, well, that's kind of high on this list. Out of 9, this is number 4. This is one of those that I did, okay, it kind of swapped with 4 and 5. Like when I was a kid, I was like 4 and 5 is awesome. And I thought this was kind of goofy, but now I watch it now, it has these little subtle undertones. Now, don't get me wrong, like I just said, you know, with the exception of 1 and 7, Freddy is kind of, I guess in 2, he don't really joke around 2, but you know, 3 on up, he becomes this prankster, he's one-liners, and he's joking. In this one, it was really kind of to the max. The video game, he's still goofing around, but there were subtle things that got me in this one. For example, when the kids go back to the town, Springwood, and they're looking, you know, and how like all the adults are just kind of gone nuts. Now, could this really happen? Probably not. But I like the idea that they're all left behind, and they're literally just kind of like, there's no kids. I did always wonder, like, why didn't they have nightmares though? And to the point, like, how did like Freddy vs. Jason, Springwood's repopulated again? I mean, I know they're not really probably in sequence, and they wasn't really caring, but when you watch them all in order, you're like, wow, like literally, this was a ghost town. Now it's repopulated, and everybody's here. But anyways. But yeah, and like you said, you know, Alice Cooper's a stepdad. I thought that was really a nice little touch on it. The scene where, yeah, when they're driving through the town and they're trying to get out, and like, you know, they're just like, you know, it's like a crossroads, and there's a statue, and they're like, go straight. They go straight, and then here in a little bit, they come up here again, and it's like, oh, we didn't circle, go left, and they keep coming back to the same spot. It's like that. I don't know. It's just little things like that I thought was just really nice.
It did show them smoking weed though.
It
While
did.
they were doing that.
That is true. That is true.
There could have been a way out.
It wasn't her though, because she was all like, "I'm not a pothead or anything like that." That's like her main thing. She could have. It could have been. She could have been like, you know.
All in the van, windows
they
are.
It was like a Scooby-Doo type van. They were all there. But yeah, definitely. Like I said, I dug it, and yeah. So that's my Freddy's Dead. Number 4. But I will say this: I did kind of find it lame. Like they just like found this kid out of nowhere. I'm like, you know, really? After all this time, part 6, we're just now realizing he has a daughter. Will we not figure this out like early on?
Before it gets into good stuff, though, one thing that can possibly ruin that: Roseanne is in it.
Roseanne is in it, yes.
And she's not like
and
Tommy Roseanne, not like really cool yelling at people. She's like, oh, kids.
She's
it's
annoying,
like,
yeah.
It's annoying.
It's ridiculous. Also in this one, the Deppster, Johnny Depp has a small cameo. The scene where Breckenmeyer is on the couch and he's and then it's Johnny Depp. He's like, "This is your brain. This is your brain on drugs." And he questioned, and of course Freddy hits him with a frying pan. He drops down. But yeah, boom, that's him right there. So, all right, so we're in our top 3s now. These are the heavy hitters of the Nightmare on Elm Street series. So, your number 3. Let's hear it.
My number 3 is number 2.
Oh, sorry, I'm getting kind of. Oh, okay, I'm good. It passed. It passed. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Number 2. Bunch of things. I mean, it had some good stuff. Good deaths, especially the one where he comes out of the guy in the wall. That was awesome.
Yeah,
loved it. Loved the pool thing. The trampoline thing didn't really touch me that much. I mean, yeah, it's kind of creepy, but I wasn't like just it was really gay.
It was
the shower scene. They go to a gay bar.
The fact that the teacher gets killed by getting like S&M strung up
after he got done being at the gay bar.
There's a leather bar. Yeah.
The leather bar, and then Freddy comes out of a guy.
Yeah.
And that's I don't know. There's so many different ways you can make that gay.
Yeah, it really is. Yes, there's.
But
you know, the funny thing is if you watch the special features, The dude, like, he's shocked to hear it's a gay movie. He's just like, wait, what? Where are you getting gay, overtones? I don't know about that. This is a serious dude. Yeah, it really is. I'm just like, really, buddy? Like, I don't know. But yeah, go ahead.
Denial's a bitch. No, it was really good, and like we said earlier, I just don't like it because they weren't from the town. Why is Freddy after them just because they're at Nancy's house? Yeah. Other than that, and he should have been more of a man. Like, his girlfriend in the movie was more manly.
Exactly,
and
yes.
He's like, Freddy. There's the one part where he screams like a girl, and that cracks me up. It takes away from the scariness of the scene because I'm just laughing at this guy.
Now, one thing I'll go to, I'll give it the good and the bad, or reverse. There wasn't a lot of Freddy in this one, I noticed. Like, they did have a lot of, like, teenage drama. I think they were trying. I mean, at that point, I can't give them credit because, at this point, whenever you got a slasher series, one's your character development in good movie. But then after that, there's like, fuck it, breaking kids and kill them. So I think they were trying to break away from that. However, when you do that, you do have less Freddy. And that's one thing. However, the few times you do see Freddy, he does look pretty creepy. Like, everybody kind of forgets that part 2, he's still kind of dark.
That's the one where he rips his head off.
Yes, yes.
It was very suspenseful, but it led to nothing because you're like, oh, Freddy's gonna be here. No, he's not.
Yeah, there was a lot of those too. Yes. Okay, my number 3 is. Oh, here's where I'm gonna get some hate. I'm gonna get some hate right here. Freddy vs. Jason. Oh God, I'm getting crucified right here. Here's the reason. Everybody was just like, oh, this is a letdown. What did you want? Like, what did people really want from a Freddy versus Jason? It delivered more than the old school Universal Wolfman meets Frankenstein or House of Frankenstein. I can't remember if it was House of Frankenstein or House of Dracula. It's one of the two. Where the trailer I watched, they're like, for the first time ever, you got all 5 of the classics. You got, Frankenstein's monster. You got the Wolfman. You got Dracula. You got the Mad Scientist, and you got the Hunchback. And I'm like, we're gonna get this 5-way fucking free for all, and I want to see that. I want to see that. No, you know what you get? You get a story about the Mad Scientist, the Hunchback, and the Wolfman, and they don't fight. They don't even really argue. And then they meet Dracula. And when I mean like 2 of them meet Dracula. Not even the Wolfman. He dies quickly. Frankenstein wants to show up at the end, but at that point, Wolfman's already done his thing, and he's gone. It was ridiculous. I want to see a knockout, slugfest. Aliens vs. Predator, same thing. Everybody's like, oh, I can't believe. I'm like, what? It gave me exactly what I wanted. I wanted to see an alien and a predator fucking fight, and I got it. Was the storyline a little weak? Of course. But, at this point, who cares? With this one, same thing. I watched it recently. Now I'm also a stickler for acting. It got some horrible acting. I was kind of shocked at how it never registered before, and then I'm watching it and I'm like, you're John Ritter's kid. What the fuck is wrong with you? He acts bad. You also got the girl in here. I think looks a lot like Brittany Murphy too. Like it's ridiculous actually, and but she lives, so that's the only difference there. Another dead Brittany Murphy joke. I'm a dick. Anyways, I thought it was really good. The fact that the one thing I will agree with everybody on. It should have been Kane Hodder. Just flat out should have been Kane Hodder. But I let it go. It's in the past. It's 2003. I have made peace with the fact that Kane Hodder is not in Freddy vs. Jason. I have moved on, and I'm enjoying life right now. Alright? Everybody who does these reviews are still just like, it wasn't Kane Hodder. Fuck this movie. I'm like, really? Look past it. It's a good stuff. It also spawned a comic book series, Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash. And it was incredible. It should have been a movie. And you know what we got in that? A triple threat fucking throwdown. And it was awesome. So yes, this movie, highly recommend it. Great death scenes. If I have one complaint, besides the fact that it wasn't Kane Hodder, not enough Freddy death. It was all like Jason just running amok, killing everybody. And Freddy gets a couple of kills in here, but I don't know. Kind of disappointed about that. That's it. That's all I got on that one. So, alright, top 2. Here we go. Your number 2.
My number 2 is number 3. It had some of the scariest deaths, I think, out of the whole series. Yeah. Especially my favorite, the guy in the tendons, and he's being walked like a marionette.
Yes.
Stuck with me forever. Like, I don't have nightmares about it, but every now and then I'll just
It's creepy. It's
sit down and just be like, oh, that's gross.
It's the thought of your veins being ripped out, but not actually tearing. It's just you're sitting there, and even though, like, in real life, he's walking normal, like he's sleepwalking, but in a dream where it matters, dude, that's your fucking thing being taken. Oh, dude, you're right. It was very.
Also mixed with my fear of heights, and he fell off the thing.
Woo.
So 2 in 1.
There it is.
And I liked all the different powers with the dreams.
Yeah.
I like Patricia Arquette.
Yeah, that's her.
Okay. The fact that Nancy come back. And
yes.
If Nancy thought hard enough, she could go into their dreams. I love that. That was pretty awesome.
That was kind of cool. That's kind of the first time you got that too. Well, they had it similar, like a little part of that in part 1 actually, when she falls asleep and then Johnny Depp falls asleep. But they didn't really explore it. They just kind of like showed it and then they kind of moved on past that. So it was neat the fact that they brought everybody into a dream and everything like that. So that was kind of cool. And they used it later on as well. So. And
the fact that she did end up in the nut house and she overcame, this guy in her dreams trying to kill her and.
And with the exception, once again, I mentioned how cheesy the fucking skeleton fight was. The rest of the effects are pretty good. Like the scene where they're walking, like on the hall of mirrors or whatever, and Freddy's kind of coming out. I thought that was really neat looking and everything else.
The wheelchair thing with the wizard guy kind of reminds me of a death from one of the Pinhead movies.
Hellraiser.
Yes, thank you. Hellraiser. Couldn't think of it. Where there is a chair going down a hallway. I don't know which one it is. I remember seeing it though, and I know it's that movie.
I'm trying to think. I just watched the Pinheads earlier. I can't remember. If you out there know, throw me a line. Help us out here if we're drowning. But yeah, I think
could have been an homage to Nightmare.
Could have been. All right, so here we go. We're it's my number 2 right now. Hadn't picked up in a while. New Nightmare right here. Once again, I love the fact that Wes Craven wasn't afraid to say, you know what, fuck the storyline, I'm gonna do my own thing. I thought that was kind of cool. Wes Craven's one of those directors, to me, he's very hit or miss. But when he hits, it's a home run. Literally, and this is one of them. I did like the fact that, you had John Saxon, you had Wes Craven himself, you had Robert Englund as Robert Englund. It's kind of break the fourth wall. But then, once again, when Freddy kind of came out, he wasn't just, he didn't have the striped shirt. He had like the trench coat. And and he was just different. I thought, my favorite Dreamworld is in this one right here. Dude, that gothic, Greek, like, pantheon-looking sewer demon underworld thing. Dude, one of the best ways to get there is you go to sleep and then you go at the bottom of your bed and it turns into like a chute. That is awesome, dude. Like, I literally, when I was a kid, yeah, okay, I've already said, okay, it's 94, okay, I was still a kid. Then we guys think I was like, junior high playing my, but I would actually pretend like I'm going down to bed and trying to get to the bottom of it. It was actually just last week I was playing around playing this game. But anyways, yes, just great stuff all around. And if you look closely at the funeral scene, when spoiler alert, when her husband gets killed, you'll see former cast members throughout the movie. And a side note here is, one of them who was supposed to be in it was the Deppster. What happened was, Johnny Depp, Wes Craven calls Johnny Depp's agent and says, I want him to have a little cameo. There's a funeral scene. I'm getting a lot of cast members back. And he tells the agent this. The agent's just like, yeah, Depp ain't gonna do that. Hangs up on him. When Depp, I guess like Depp and Craven crossed paths like, a couple years down the road. And when Depp found out that his agent did that to him, he fired his agent. I was like, hell yes. No reason that Depp's the man. So yes, New Nightmare. There's this one DVD we hadn't even picked up yet. There's just one that just hadn't been touched.
I think it's both of our number 1s.
There it is. Go ahead. Number 1.
The original.
Boom.
Can't have all the rest without this.
There it is. It's just a damn good movie. When I did my review, I did a review on this one not long ago. It was the most piss poor review because I didn't know what else to say. Like it's everything's already been said about this movie. It's fucking phenomenal. Boom. There it is. You can't. What else can you really say about this movie? Go ahead.
Okay. I'll start with my favorite death of the movie. Not because, Johnny Depp, everybody likes Johnny Depp. He's a good actor.
Everybody does love Johnny Depp. I'm on his nuts.
I'm not one of those girls that would swing off his nuts if I could. Don't like him like that.
Okay, you know how John Travolta's in trouble right now because he allegedly was trying to give money for gay sex? If Depp was here and he's just like, listen, Phantom, I'm going to slip you a 20. We'll go in the back room. You can suck me off. I'll beg, Mr. Depp, keep your 20. Let's go.
You'll do it for free.
I'll do it for free. I definitely would. And then the thing is, he plays for Marilyn Manson, so then I'm going to be like, hey, we should give Manson a call. And you know what? I'm down. I am down right there. So yes, that's my fantasy right there I'm playing out right now. So sorry, go ahead.
Okay. I liked him getting sucked into the waterbed and then the blood exploding onto the ceiling.
Yes, classic scene.
That was just the most blood ever. That was awesome.
Yeah, more blood than the body will actually hold. However, it was just like a gusher of it.
He's an only child too, as they kind of point in the movie. So his parents are not only horrified they found his remains, but they're like, what the fuck are they going to do now? They have no more kids.
And they're old too. They don't have any more kids at this point too. So
I like the fact that Nancy's mom was an alcoholic because they got divorced, and she's like, "Oh, shut up, mother," and just go drink some more. And it's like, that's pretty funny. The bathtub scene, not that scary. It's good.
I will say it's iconic, but yeah, I agree. It's not really that scary, but yeah, it is a good scene though.
I have some friends that they wouldn't take baths after that. Yes, and I'm not going to say who they are because they know who they are. But it was just the scariest, and the fact he brought it up from true stories that he'd read in the paper about the guys from Cambodia that come to California, and they were having nightmares. A bunch of them died. The last guy didn't sleep for days. He finally went to sleep. He
did the thing like she did too. I mean, he had the coffee pot underneath his bed.
I was going to that. His family, I think, drugged him to go to sleep, and they heard him screaming. Went in there, he was dead. They found a coffee pot and in his closet, like hers, and they also found caffeine pills.
Caffeine pills, yeah.
And nobody knows why those guys from Cambodia died.
Still unexplained. I mean, to this day.
Another thing I liked about it is he named Freddie after the guy who bullied him in school.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, last house on the left, Krug.
Yeah.
Kruger.
Kruger, yeah.
So that guy who bullied him when he was a kid really got fucked.
And there's also another thing, the look of Freddie. You know where it comes from?
No.
When he was younger, they lived in inner city or whatever apartment, and he just one of those things where you're just awake at night and he hears someone outside, and he goes to the window, and he's probably 3 or 4 floors up, and he looks outside, and there's this drunk man with the sweater, the hat. And clearly a wino, but you're a kid, you know anything about it. The guy, and he goes to this day, you don't know why, but the guy gets a present that he's being watched, and he kind of turns around and looks up at him. And Wes said he freaked out and just kind of backed up. Well, the guy had this grin on his face and starts walking to the building and enters the building. Now, at this point, Wes is waking up the entire household, because I guess they had a big family and they were all in this small apartment. So you had 2 people sleeping in the, that's the crypt. I'm not going to lie, we get a lot of traffic in the graveyard. He's waking the whole household up. Of course, when they get up, there's no one there. But he said that the thought that this guy would go that far just to scare a kid, he goes, that just stuck with him. And then, of course, when he came up with this concept, it kind of came back to him. That's where the look of Freddy came from, was this old wino. So, yeah, dug that.
What was your favorite thing about number 1?
You know what my favorite thing is now? Right now, when everybody's not on Elm Street, the one thing that comes to mind is, okay, I got a little cousin. And see, when I was a kid, you were too, we were raised on horror movies. We were kids raised on horror movies. I've done this rant millions of times. So, I have a little cousin, and he's kind of a powder puff. I'm not going to lie to you. I love him. I love him to death, but he's a powder puff. And he'd come over, and we'd be playing video games like that. I'd be watching him. And he'd always want to watch movies, but it was I got some SpongeBob on DVD and, some kid movies. And I'm like, don't get me wrong, I love that stuff. I'm just like, when I was your age, dude, I'd be going toward the horror section. What the fuck, So I was like, you know what? No, we're not watching SpongeBob. We're going to watch the first Nightmare on Elm Street. And I'm thinking to myself, it's not scary. I've seen this movie a million times. It's not a scary movie. So I watch it with him. Dude, I didn't realize how dark this movie was until you're watching it with a kid who doesn't want to watch it. Because I'm sitting there it's a great movie. Then I gotta look over at him. Dude, his eyes are as big as saucers. And the scene, and I did turn it off, but the reason why was the scene where when Nancy's in class, and this is right after Tina dies, when she falls asleep, and then you got Tina in the body bag. Nancy. Dude, this kid was about to shit himself. I probably went like that, cheesy like that, He would have died of a heart attack, and it would have been my fault, and then, there would have been horror movies killed it. It would have been a whole thing. Anyway, I was like, okay, fuck it, we'll watch some SpongeBob, and I turned it off. So yeah, to me, now when everybody's like, what's your favorite scene? I just go back to the Tina inside the, body bag or whatever.
I'll be honest, I saw this movie when I was about 8 years old the first time. That part did not scare me. I was just that's kind of cool. But now when I watch it, I'm like, oh my god, that's horrifying.
It is. It's a lot darker.
It makes me crawl to the corner of the couch because it's just so creepy.
It is. I mean, it's a really effective thing right there. Truly. What's your favorite then? Oh, you said Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp and the whole weird shoot of blood.
The geyser of blood, if you will. So, also, has John Saxon. And once again, John Saxon is one of those very underrated actors. I don't care what, in the horror community, he's, I guess, I wouldn't say overrated, but he gets the respect he deserves. But, in the actual acting community, dude's shine. I'm like, I don't get it. The dude's just a hell of an actor. And I'm thinking that he does a lot of B movies. But you know what? He gives it 110 every time he's out there. And this is another great performance turned in by John Saxon. The entire cast, really. Not a single shred of bad acting in this one, really. I don't think. I think everybody did a pretty good job in this. So, yeah.
There's 2 different endings.
Oh.
I think we know at the end.
Yeah.
There's 2, they could go either way.
Oh, okay.
I think I know which one is the real one because obviously they made part 3. So I think her mom actually got killed, and everybody else was
in
cool.
there. You're right. Okay, yes. I didn't think about that. Okay, nice point. Good point.
I remember when I was little, didn't get the whole I was like 8, 9. Didn't get the whole concept. And I was like, what the hell, What's going on? And the older I get, the more I watch. I'm like, okay.
Okay,
cool.
yeah. You kind of get into it right there. He didn't even want that ending because he was just wanting to end it flat out. And then, of course, Bob Shaye's just like, no, this is a great movie. We got to have a sequel. And they kind of followed that. And then, of course, they made the ending that you see.
Much. Been on the shelf 3 years, and Bob was the only one wanting to do it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he got his because he went on to direct The Last Mimsy. And Bob's not directing anymore. He's back to just staying behind his desk right now. And I'm glad for that. So, yes. Not that I have nothing against Bob Shaye. Don't get me wrong. I think overall,
cameos.
It's a great. He does have a lot of cameos. I mentioned he's in Freddy vs. Jason.
Mm-hmm.
He's
Isn't he Freddy's dead or?
Yes, Freddy's dead. He's the ticket taker in that one.
I think he's in part 1, maybe.
I can't remember.
As a principal.
Is he? He's the principal in Freddy vs. Jason. Is he? I can't remember.
And then Lynn Shaye, sister.
Yeah.
She's in part 1 as the teacher, and part 6 as the nurse.
7
said,
yeah.
7.
So yeah.
She could be in more. I've not really paid attention.
There is always like a Shaye in the credits, and I never really quite paid attention. Every time I see him, it's like, well, that's clearly that's.
If I owned a movie studio, all of my family would be.
Dude, they definitely would be. Every time, I just give them main roles, everything.
I wouldn't even pay them. I'd just be like, dude, you're in the movie.
You're in the movie. Get out there. Hey, seriously, Hugh Jackman, get back here.
You pay me.
Let the kid run out there. It's like. You're directing the next X-Men. Like, yeah, well, guess what? Wolverine's played out. Get back there. Let the kid out there. So all right. Well, there it is. We just ranked the entire, Nightmare on Elm Street. So, Horror Hag, thank you for coming by. You're welcome anytime. So, all right, guys. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you later. We're out.